friends, and welcome back to another episode of Last Minute Laura. My name is Laura, and today I am going to show you something a little bit different. Still connected to natural dyeing, but today we're not making a dye. Instead, we're going to make a mordant. So, from what I understand, a mordant is the thing that helps your dye bite onto your fabric or yarn and stick there permanently. You can use aluminum sulfate, you can use iron, some people use copper, aluminum. There's lots of different things you can use. There's even some natural dye things you can use, like acorns, they have tannins in them, or rhubarb, or walnut husks. Lots of different things can mordant your yarn, your fabric, so that the dye can actually hold on and stay there. Today, I'm going to show you how I make my personal favorite mordant, or currently my favorite mordant, which is iron water solution. So, as you can see, I've got some examples here. This one is an aged one. It is ready to use. It is good to go. You can see it's red. It's collected all of the rust from some rusty objects, and it's ready with its irony magic. This one's a little bit younger. It's still clear. There is a bit of a rusty layer in there, but it's not quite ready to be used yet. And we're going to make a whole other jar today. So what you're going to need for this project is a glass jar. I recommend glass just because it's very sealed once you've sealed the jar. You could use plastic as well, as long as it's got a really tight fitting lid. You're gonna need some water, some vinegar, just basic vinegar, and you're going to need some rusty things. It doesn't really matter what they are. I'm going to be using some miscellaneous rusty items that I found around the city of Toronto. So there's some car parts, some bolts, I found a hinge, I have a brake pad, and some sort of planer. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's got red rust on it, you're good to go. So, step one, add your rusty items to your jar. The amount of rusty items isn't really a science. Just add a handful or two of rusty items. Just be careful not to break your jar. I'm also just going to add a handful of rusty nails, because I have so many rusty nails that it's kind of ridiculous. And there we go. Next, it's going to be a measurement of 1 part vinegar to 3 parts water. So my jar has measurements on the side. I'm just going to pour in a quarter full with this vinegar. Perfect. And then I'm just going to top the rest off with the water. And there we go. You don't really need to mix it. You just need to make sure that you have a good tight fitting lid on there so that all of your stuff doesn't spill out. And you'll see pretty soon after you get started, the vinegar is going to start bubbling in there. It's reacting with that rust and it's creating air bubbles, and that's going to release all of the rust from your rusty items. That solution, after 1 to 2 weeks, it's going to turn kind of murky like this one. You can see this one's clear, but if I give it a little bit of a shake, all the rusty bits mix up and it turns dark green. And that's a good sign. That means that it's working. You're getting all the rust off of the items and it's turning into a great iron mordant, which is going to be super useful. After a little while longer, it'll turn like this. It gets a little bit more orange, and this is when it's ready to use. When it turns orange is when it's ready to use. So this one is all good to go, and I use this with almost all of my natural dyes, honestly. You only need about a cup of it at one time, and a cool thing is, if you dilute this into water, you can reuse that diluted bath multiple times before it uses up all of the iron in there. So you actually get lots of uses out of this. That being said, I really do recommend that you go to the library, borrow a book on natural dye, or do some research on your own online, because there are certain things about these that aren't exactly the best. For example, iron does have some toxicity to it. You wouldn't really want to be flushing this down your sink all the time, so it's better to reuse it as much as possible. Also, when you're handling it, use gloves, and remember to wash your hands after, just because you don't want to get heavy metals in your body ever. It's definitely not the most dangerous mordant. Alum and iron are typically considered safe mordants to use. Copper and aluminum have a little bit more of a bad reputation in terms of safety. But do your own research, make sure it's what's going to work for you. But if it is, I do recommend you try it because it's a really cool color modifier. You get some very different colors than you would get otherwise, and it's just really cool. I honestly just think it's a really cool thing to add to your natural dye handbook. Having Iron Mordant around ups your natural dye game for sure. So let me know if you're going to give it a shot. Let me know if it worked for you. Did you see it turn from clear and murky to dark green to bright orange? If you used it, what did you use it with and what happened? Let me know in the comments down below, and definitely don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I put out new videos every single day. I'm doing, what's it called? Video every day in August. So there's a video coming out every single day in August. So that's all for me for today. Definitely check back tomorrow though for more content from me, Last Minute Laura, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!